The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Attention all personnel, the war is over. MASH is going home next.
You call me a taxi, I'll be on my way.
Share their touching goodbyes and their new beginnings.
I'll never forget you.
MASH, the end of an era, a 2.5-hour special.
I'll miss you.
The laughs and tears, the final farewells next. That is all.
When MASH finally came to an end in 1983, more than 106 million people watched its finale, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen. The episode was so highly anticipated that 30-second commercials sold for almost $500,000, more than some of the slots for the Super Bowl that year. And because CBS wasn't all that happy about losing a consistent year-after-year ratings winner like MASH, the suits at the Tiffany Network requested a new series after MASH that followed the post-war adventures of Potter, Klinger, and Father Mulcahy. And while the show started off with a bang and had fabulous ratings here in the United States, script problems and constant character changes led to a rather steep decline in viewership, and the show was canceled by the network after just a couple of seasons. Another attempt at recapturing the magic of MASH featured the return of beloved character Radar O'Reilly in a show called Walter. However, the pilot was not well received by the network. And while it did finally air in some parts of the United States, most folks don't even know that this show existed. One final thing. Shortly after MASH ended, the Smithsonian Institute opened up a wildly popular exhibit about the show, which ran on and off for a couple of years. This thing was so popular that lines to see it, well, they felt more like an attraction at Disneyland. Sometimes folks would wait for as long as a couple of hours. And then, because there were so many tourists that wanted to view it, once inside the exhibit, people were often only allowed to stick around for 10 to 15 minutes.
Jack Wilde rose to fame as the Oscar-nominated Artful Dodger in the film Oliver and as Jimmy in the classic children's TV show H.R. Pufnstuf. Although he also pursued a music career during the 70s, that was stifled a bit as he battled alcoholism from an early age. After becoming sober, Jack experienced a career resurgence with a role in the blockbuster hit Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and he found happiness with his second wife, Claire, who was such a strong support for him. Jack Wilde passed away in 2006 from oral cancer. That said, from everything I've read, he wouldn't want to be remembered for that, or any of his other challenges. Instead, he'd want to be remembered for his enduring optimism and his never-give-up fighting spirit.
Yep, just hearing the name Fred Flintstone conjures up many wonderful memories of the first animated TV program that was part of a network's primetime lineup. But did you know that if co-creator Bill Hanna had been given his choice, Fred would have had a slightly different last name? More on that in a moment, but first, let's talk a bit about the program itself. Reminiscent of the live-action TV show The Honeymooners, the Flintstones debuted on ABC television in 1960 and ran for 6 successful seasons, set in the Stone Age but very much reflecting the modern era of the then 1960s. The show's 2 main protagonists were best friends, Fred Flintstone and his neighbor Barney Rubble. Along for many of their crazy adventures were their wives Wilma and Betty. When the show debuted, most of the critics gave it poor marks and forecasted a quick demise for the cartoon. However, television viewers in the US, well, they loved it, and before you could say yabba dabba doo, Flintstones mania was in full swing. So let's get to this whole name change thing. You see, when Hanna-Barbera put together the pilot for network executives, Fred's last name was Flagstone. I know, it just doesn't sound right. But maybe, just maybe, if he'd been called that for the last 60 years, Flintstones would sound odd to us. However, the name Flagstone was just not going to work. And that's because of this guy. Well-known cartoonist Mort Walker. Walker is best known for the classic comic strip Beetle Bailey, which always seemed to be the inspiration for Gomer Pyle USMC to me. But we're not actually going to talk about Mort's best-known comic strip. because we really need to talk about Mort's other comic strip, Hi and Lois, which was in fact a spin-off from Beetle Bailey. You see, Lois first showed up in the Beetle Bailey comic strip because she's Beetle Bailey's sister. So anyway, Hi and Lois's last name is Flagston. And when Mort Walker heard that Hanna-Barbera was putting together a cartoon called The Flagstones, well, he thought that the name was just a little too similar. So, his lawyers called their lawyers, and before you knew it, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, well, they were forced to put their heads together and come up with a new name for Fred and Wilma. And that, my friends, is how the Flintstones came to be. Not because it was the best choice, but rather because no one really wanted to get sued. So how did the classic, iconic television program The Honeymooners get its name? Well, it goes all the way back to 1951, and the name, believe it or not, came directly from the show's star. We're talking about Mr. Jackie Gleason. He was sitting around with a couple writers from another show that he was working on called The Cavalcade of Stars, and the writers were Joe Bigelow and Harry Crane, and they were talking about this sketch, and it was an idea that Gleason had about this husband and wife, and the husband's this loud-mouthed, blustery guy, and so Harry Crane suggested they call it The Beast, and that didn't sit right with Gleason because, you know what he said, the guy isn't a beast at all. He really, really loves his wife. Sure, they fight a lot, but that's just kind of like the neighborhood I grew up in. And so they thought about it a bit more, and Crane again came back. Harry Crane came back and said, why don't we call it The Lovers? And then Gleason said, you know what, that's a little bit closer. We're getting close, but if people hear that, they might construe that they're not married. They might think that they're living in sin, and we want everybody to know they're married. So Harry Crane came up with, well, we'll call it The Couple Next Door then. And that's when a light bulb went off in Gleason's head, and he said, nah, we're going to call it The Honeymooners.
We'll return after these messages.
Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees, Kiss, Linda Ronstadt. You'll find them all in one exciting weekly magazine, Circus. Every week, Circus magazine reveals the truth about the incredible rock and roll scene.
I'm Jerry Rothberg, editor of Circus magazine, and I want you to read the toughest, timeliest, gutsiest magazine around.
Read Circus for in-depth reporting about the new drug laws, the facts about birth control, and how to buy stereo equipment. Circus magazine in color now at your newsstand every week. Pick up your copy today.
Kurt Russell, as a campus scientist, makes an amazing discovery.
Invisible?
Disney's Now You See 'Em, Now You Don't. Sunday at 7, 6 Central and Mountain on NBC. Bob Hope salutes the World Series with special guests Danny Kaye, Glenn Campbell, Steve Martin, The Muppets, Cheryl Teague, and more. Catch it Sunday.
Hey, I want to return these shirts.
No.
Yeah, they're all covered with specks.
Those aren't specks. They're Certs flavor crystals. Try one. And Certs gives you 30-minute breath protection. I mean, the candy may be gone in 5 minutes, but Certs with Redson keeps on freshening your breath even after 30 minutes.
I'll put another log on the fire.
Certs with flavor crystals keeps on working even after 30 minutes.
Nancy Walker's God. Out to destroy Las Vegas.
Hogs, boils, pestilence, anything you got to stop.
Billy Crystal's the avenging angel whose human feelings get in the way.
Why don't we go on up to my suite and get a little more comfortable?
Billy Crystal in the world premiere comedy Human Feelings, Monday at 9:30, 8:30 Central and Mountain on NBC.
Bubblicious. It's the ultimate bubble. Bubblicious. It's the ultimate bubble. Soft and juicy. It's the ultimate bubble. So delicious. It's the ultimate bubble. It's the ultimate bubble. Bubblicious. The ultimate bubble. Bubblicious. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dynamite!
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dinah Mints! In just 6 seconds, Dynamints with cooling menthol starts making your breath feel kissing fresh.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dynamint!
Dynamints with cooling menthol starts freshening breath in 6 seconds.
Give me a smile with everything on it, and I'll pass it on.
So give me a Coke when you smile, and I promise to pass it along. I'm gonna pass it along. The world needs a break when it's tired and thirsty. Coke and a smile is how it should be. Coke has life, Coca-Cola has life.
The Chips stake out a neighborhood and find that trouble comes in small packages.
Hey, slow down and stop! I can't!
Then, all your favorites are back in a brand new movie.
Here at sea. Maybe we can be rescued.
Rescue from Gilligan's Island. Bob Denver and members of the original Gilligan cast. Saturday on NBC.
Here are a few of my favorite podcasts that you can watch right here on YouTube. Ike Eisenmann from Disney's Escape to Witch Mountain series and author Jonathan Rosen take an affectionate look back at pop culture from yesteryear. They share memories, have great discussions, and conduct interviews with people who were involved in some of the most beloved classics from the past. They even asked me to join them a couple of weeks ago, and I had a great time visiting with these fellers. Look for that episode to debut in a couple of weeks. What's a glitter boom girl? Well, I'm not sure, but I sure do love their podcast. Authors Amy Asbury and Robbie Ann McPherson take an affectionate, loving deep dive into 70s and 80s nostalgia, revisiting everything from childhood toys, teen idols, TV shows, and even TV dinners. Yep, all the stuff that made the 70s and 80s so darn special. Over the past handful of years, the BATCAVE podcast has taken a look at each and every episode of the 60s Batman TV series. Host John S. Drew celebrates the great and looks to see where the show went wrong as it slid into oblivion during its third and final season. These days, John is also reviewing episodes of the animated series as well as shows like Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. And every week I like to jump on the BK Escape Pod. That's a podcast version of BK on the Air, which airs live every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. But you know what? BK stands for Barry King, and this guy knows his stuff. And the podcast, if you listen to it on YouTube, he intersperses it with all sorts of fun, retro nostalgia audio clips. And if you've been watching any of the videos on my channel lately, you know that I've been listening to the Real Brady Bros podcast. The Real Brady Bros are Barry Williams and Christopher Knight, and they have a great time visiting and recapping iconic Brady Bunch episodes every week. Good stuff. Folks, I'll drop the link to all of these podcasts in the description section of this live stream. I would definitely recommend checking out some or all of these podcasts. They are so good, each and every one of them. And if you find yourself enjoying one of them, well, click on that subscribe button. That's how you'll know when a new episode is published to YouTube. Alright, now back to more retro TV programming.
Did you know that the famously always absent Mr. Mondello from Leave It to Beaver has sparked some pretty darn wild fan theories? While the show's explanation was that he was a traveling businessman, some viewers have speculated he might have had another family elsewhere, and the mystery deepens when you think about Mrs. Mondello. There are those fans who believe she was actually Larry's grandmother, raising him as her own, with his older sister being his real mother. It's a theory that would make their move from seemingly wholesome Mayfield to the East Coast less about a new job and more about a fresh start for Larry and his family. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Hey there, fans of classic entertainment. You know Ike Eisenmann from the original Escape to Witch Mountain movie series, right? Well, Ike recently related an experience going way back to his later teenage years where his path, in a very odd way, crossed with none other than Mark Hamill. And the result? Well, hang on for just a moment and you'll find out. Picture this. A long time ago, on a city street far, far away, Ike found himself smack in the middle of a situation that was both flattering and, quite frankly, somewhat confusing at the same time. As was quite often the case when Ike was younger, because of his many guest starring appearances on shows like Chips, Wonder Woman, and T.J. Hooker, he was approached by a family that was very excited to get his autograph. However, as he talked with them a bit more, he realized that they thought he was the guy who played Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. Yep, actor Mark Hamill. And as much as he tried to set things straight with them, telling them that he wasn't Mark, these folks were not convinced. And Ike was in a bit of a pickle. He didn't want to let the family down, and he didn't want them to walk away thinking that Mark Hamill was a jerk. So he pulled a move worthy of any galaxy-saving hero, and he signed an autograph using Mark's name. As the family triumphantly departed with their prize signature, I have to believe that Ike felt a mixture of happiness and guilt. And I also believe that in his heart, he knew that he had done the right thing. Fast forward to present day, and Ike shared this crazy story on social media, talking about how he had become a Jedi for just a moment. Imagine Ike's surprise when Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker himself, responded, thanking him for taking care of his fans. He said, what a wonderful story. No apologies necessary for making a family so very happy. I'm sure from watching you over the years that not only did you represent me well, but you would be great as Luke. At last, Ike had confirmation that his spur-of-the-moment decision so many years ago was exactly the right thing to do. And we, the fans of both Ike and Mark, have confirmation that they are more than just TV and movie stars. They're both incredibly kind and thoughtful human beings. As long as we're talking about Ike, I've got to mention that he co-hosts an absolutely wonderful podcast and YouTube channel with author Jonathan Rosen called Pop Culture Retro, where they interview lots of stars from TV shows and movies from decades gone by. I love this podcast. Ike and Jonathan really have a way of making their guests feel comfortable and at ease. I should know, because they invited me on as a guest a few months back as well. What a treat that was. Anyway, great podcast and great guys. I'll post a link to their YouTube channel in the description section of this video. So I've got to ask, does anybody else remember Fantastic Journey? Ike starred in this short-lived science fiction TV series which ran on NBC, and I absolutely loved it.
Trapped on a strange landmass. They come from different times, but they're all in danger now.
Use whatever means necessary.
An unearthly swamp and an android colony with a human leader await. On the Fantastic Journey, Roddy McDowell joins the Fantastic Journey Thursday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time.
You'll notice there, the legendary Roddy McDowell was in the series as well. That was way back in 1977, and a few years later, Ike would make a memorable appearance in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan as Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott's nephew, Engineering Cadet Peter Preston. Spoiler alert, things don't go all that well for him. Khan! By the early 2000s, Ike's career had transitioned to more behind-the-scenes work, but in 2009, he and original Escape to Witch Mountain actress Kim Richards did return to the big screen in cameo roles in Disney's remake, Race to Witch Mountain. Here's an odd one. As Lars Hansen, the beloved town founder of Walnut Creek on the classic TV show Little House on the Prairie, actor Carl Swinsson filmed a moving final episode where his character passed away. This sad storyline came about after Swinsson, then 70 years old, told his co-star and producer Michael Landon that he was ready to retire. In a strange and really quite eerie coincidence, Swinsson himself would die of a heart attack just 8 days before that episode aired in 1978. His surprise passing left both his fellow cast members and fans of the show wondering aloud if he had received some sort of premonition. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section.
And now, these messages. Odyssey, video game fun, computer keyboard challenge, the entrance to an alternate world of fire-breathing dragons, hard-hitting sluggers, arcade wizards, outer space wizards. More than 40 games in all. Odyssey, the excitement of a game, the mind of a computer. All for the price of an ordinary video game. Odyssey.
Where did all the day go?
I'm so sleepy, good night.
Miss her more than she knows. Sometimes you can't seem to find.
Do you have to go, Dad?
A minute of time. There's so much to be said.
I got homework to do.
How can it be so tough?
Have to go to my class.
A little time's all you need. You never see her enough.
Get together, get away.
Yes, I'll have a cheeseburger, fries.
And a sundae?
Yeah.
Deserve a break today.
At McDonald's.
Hey, what you eating? A neat candy bar. Boy, is it crispy. Sounds good. It smells peanutty. What do you call it? Whatchamacallit. Whatchamacallit? That's right. What's right? Name. What name? Whatchamacallit. You forgot the name?
Whatchamacallit, the totally different crunchy bar of peanutty tasting crisp drenched in chocolate. Whatchamacallit from Hershey. You can ask for it by name.
Can I have some of that? Some of what?
Monday, catch two great specials when Charlie Brown and Snoopy cook up a wild Thanksgiving. Then take an exciting flight with Elliot the Condor to No Man's Valley. Monday.
Tomorrow on CBS.
Ray Raisin, your roving reporter here to ask, did Kellogg's just put more raisins in their Raisin Bran? What's the scoop, son?
Two bigger scoops.
Two bigger scoops of raisins are the reason Kellogg's Raisin Bran so pleasing.
Now I ripen two bigger scoops for every box as part of this nutritious breakfast.
Two bigger scoops of raisins.
Two scoops.
In Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
What's more raisins? That's one big scoop.
Nope, it's two bigger scoops.
Chocolate.
Peanut butter.
Hey!
Oh, hey, you got your chocolate and my peanut butter.
Peanut butter on my chocolate.
What? Delicious.
Two great tastes that taste great together. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Real milk chocolate, delicious peanut butter.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
And Reese's Crunchy Peanut Butter Cups, topped with chopped peanuts.
Sometimes I don't want my kids watching what's on TV, but they can still watch something great with our RCA video disc player and video disc. Just flip a switch, and on our TV, our kids can see the magic of Walt Disney and Charlie Brown, the Muppets and Mickey Mouse, the Black Stallion, Star Trek, and lots more, starting at only $15, and the player costs less than $500.
Hello, Charlie Brown.
Bring the magic home of RCA.
When you think of New York City, you think of liberty. When you think of San Francisco, king of cars you see. From the wild and blue Pacific to New England shores. When you think of toys for your family, think of our stores. When you think of toys, think of Toys R Us.
Happy birthday!
Oh, my goodness!
Make way here! Hot cake, hot cake! Hey, everybody! Here comes your present. There you are. Happy birthday.
Big spender.
Oh, je suis belle.
Good-looking pig. I've seen better.
With the one step, you can see your pictures before the candles go out.
Cake looks great.
Yeah, but don't cut it.
What?
It's rented.
Rented? Well, rent yourself another pig. And give me my picture.
Polaroid means fun.
With the one step.
Earthquakes and floods are natural disasters. So is Greta Fernwinkle.
Do you have a toy for a 3-year-old? Don't touch that, honey.
Does she like dolls? Mattel makes the Tough Stuff shopping basket. As its name implies, it's tough. Is she musical? It's made with a practically indestructible plastic and can hold up to 150 pounds. If it has to.
I think we'll take this one.
The Tough Stuff shopping basket by Mattel.
Just one look at this guy and it all starts to make sense. It's not surprising that Cheers showrunner James Burrows said that actor George Wendt made lives miserable during the making of that classic TV show. So how did he do it? Well, give me just a few minutes and I promise to share all. But first, let's talk just a little bit about Cheers. Fun fact, the show wasn't an immediate hit. The ratings for the first season of the program were nothing to write home about. And if I remember things correctly, there was some concern regarding whether or not the show would be renewed for a second season. On Cheers, Ted Danson played Sam Malone, a retired baseball player who is the main bartender for a warm and inviting bar in Boston where everybody knows your name. Like all great television shows, the entire cast is incredibly good. They're all wonderful, in fact. But I've got to admit that the romantic tension between Sam and waitress Diane Chambers, played by Shelley Long, really made this show something special and so much darn fun to watch. I've published another video about actress Shelley Long. I'll post a link to that video at the end of this one. But it's time. Let's talk about how George Wendt foisted misery upon many of the folks working on the show. I first learned about this while visiting one of my favorite websites, Showbiz Cheat Sheet. It was there where I stumbled across this article, which references an interview with James Burrows on the Smartless podcast where he talked about George Wendt at length. Recalling the very first appearance of Norm, Burrows said that Sam asked Norm, "What do you know?" And Norm said, "Not enough." Now this was never written as a joke, but because of the person saying it and how he looked, it all gelled together and became just this huge laugh, and it made the writers' lives miserable because they now felt obligated to come up with a new Normism every single time he wandered into the bar. Here's an example of a classic Normism. In fact, this is one of my favorites. Here's another one, classic Norm. And as I read this, I can hear both Woody and Norm in my head. On the podcast, Burrows credits Wendt with making Norm so darn beloved as a character. He said it was the winning combination of great writing and the perfect actor. Here's a direct quote. He said, "We took a great part, put a great actor in it, and it took off." You know, as long as we're talking about George Wendt, here are a few other things that are definitely worth knowing. Along with Ted Danson and Ray Perlman, George is one of only 3 actors to appear in all 273 episodes of Cheers. Additionally, George played Norm Peterson on 7 different TV shows: Cheers, St. Elsewhere, The Tortellis, The Simpsons, Wings, Frasier, and Family Guy. And lastly, George is the maternal uncle of former Saturday Night Live cast member Jason Sudeikis. It was George who encouraged Jason to try out for Saturday Night Live. And of course, he's gone on to have massive success with the Apple TV Plus television series Ted Lasso, which is a great show that just has so much heart. Kind of like Cheers in that way. In fact, kind of like George, too.
Did you know that some people believe that actress Kate Jackson deserved a co-creator credit on the show Charlie's Angels due to the fact that it was her idea that the ladies would be called angels, as well as the fact that Charlie would not be seen and only heard through a desktop intercom. When Kate was cast for the show, it was going to be called the Alley Cats. And the 3 heroines of the program, well, they were nothing like Kelly, Jill, and Sabrina.
Classic TV Funhouse with Dave Sunstrom.
Growing up, I was a big fan of the Andy Griffith Show. One of the things that I loved about the program was its underlying tone of kindness. Sure, the characters had disagreements, and sometimes they even argued and had conflicts. But at the end of the day, or I guess I should say episode, everyone got along. However, behind the scenes in the real world, that was not always the case. Hi folks, my name is Dave Sundstrom, and I'd like to share an incident that occurred during the filming of Mayberry RFD, which shed light on the strained relationship between two beloved actors from the Andy Griffith Show, George Lindsay, known for his role as Goober, and Frances Bavier, famously Aunt Bee. The incident that I'm going to talk about unfolded during the filming of The Racehorse, an episode in the first season of Mayberry RFD, where Aunt Bee had a fairly prominent role. Frances would choose to leave the show, by the way, after that first season. Anyway, according to the website Showbiz Cheat Sheet, George Lindsay talked about a particular confrontation that happened on set at the racetrack, where his light-hearted banter, peppered with quite a bit of salty language between scenes, was met with stern disapproval by Frances. Her reaction, according to George, involved a severe scolding, which was then followed by an act that really affected him. She whacked him on the head with her umbrella, not once, but twice. As you might guess, George felt a bit embarrassed, sparking long-standing feelings of resentment towards Frances. Ken Barry, who played Sam Jones on the show, also felt that Frances's behavior was a bit uncalled for, adding to the tensions among the cast members. You know, I really don't blame Frances much. End of the day, she was who she was. She was old school, and her reaction to George's potty mouth stemmed from a deeply seated desire for respect, which was, if you think about it, reflective of her character both on screen and off. You know, old Goob and Aunt Bee, they may have gotten along swimmingly in Mayberry, but in real life, well, things were a lot more complicated. Despite their on-screen camaraderie, off-screen tensions, well, they left a lasting impact on George's sentiments towards Frances. Goober never forgave Aunt Bee. Those are George's words, not mine. Truth be told, Frances's impact on the Andy Griffith Show often went unrecognized. I simply can't imagine that program without her. I have to believe that her absence from the opening credits of the first 5 seasons of the Andy Griffith Show may have contributed to a long-standing feeling that she had that she just wasn't valued as much as some of the other cast members. And yet, her contributions to the show were many. She brought a sense of warmth and home through her character, an embodiment of the very heart of the show. She's the only television character that I can think of who could literally somehow rescue someone with fried chicken. End of the day, she was a comforting presence and was integral to the success of the Andy Griffith Show. Now, her homemade pickles, on the other hand, well, everyone in Mayberry could have lived without those. It was on February 3rd, 2003 that actress Lana Clarkson was shot and killed in the home of legendary music producer Phil Spector. Spector claimed that her death was an accident, but after one mistrial, the United States judicial system felt otherwise, and he was sentenced to 19 years to life for her murder. In 2021, Spector would contract COVID and die while serving his sentence. But this video is not about him. Instead, it is a celebration of a glorious woman. A warrior woman who never quite achieved the fame that she richly deserved. Whether it was starring alongside the likes of Barbie Benton in Deathstalker, or taking on the lead role in the 1985 movie Barbarian Queen, Lana delivered the goods, and it wasn't just B movies. Lana found smaller roles in major movies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Scarface. I think the last movie that I remember seeing Lana in was Amazon Women on the Moon. Now that's a funny movie and definitely one worth checking out if you've never seen it. What am I saying? It's still worth seeing again even if you have seen it. I am aware that Lana returned for Barbarian Queen 2, but I haven't seen that one yet. Maybe one of these days when I've run out of other things to watch. Oh, what am I saying? I probably won't ever see this one, but hey, it was a paycheck for Lana and kept the lights on, at least for a while. By the time the 90s rolled around, Lana had discovered that another great way to make an extra buck or two and connect with fans were sci-fi and comic book conventions. Those that met her at the conventions say that she was so approachable. She genuinely seemed to enjoy those events. And she did continue to find work as an actress, but on TV instead of movies. During the late 80s and early 90s, Lana could be found guest starring on shows like Wings, Silk Stockings, and one of my favorite shows ever, Night Court. At the same time, Lana was a frequent volunteer with Project Angel Food, a not-for-profit organization that prepares and delivers healthy meals to feed people impacted by serious illness, bringing comfort and hope every day. From what I understand, her interest in Project Angel Food started during the 80s when many of her co-workers were suffering from AIDS and needed this kind of help. Her assistance was not just a flash-in-the-pan, once-in-a-while sporadic kind of thing. Lana cared about her friends and as such was a frequent volunteer. There came a point somewhere around the mid-90s, I would guess, where Lana recognized that her days as an actress were winding down. She had dreams of doing stand-up comedy, and as such she looked for opportunities to get her foot in the door. I have to believe that working as a hostess at the House of Blues might have seemed like such an opportunity. However, that opportunity never happened due to her acquaintance of a certain music producer who doesn't merit being mentioned by name again. It was a life lost. Who's to say what would have happened? Perhaps Lana would have simply continued to work as a hostess, or maybe she would have found a second career in comedy, or even something else. The world will never know. Fortunately, Lana did leave behind her work on the screen, and you know what? Maybe I will go watch Barbarian Queen 2. Or I haven't seen her movie Blind Date either. Yeah, that one might be a better choice. And then I'll go watch Fast Times. Another big budget flick that Lana was in during the early 80s was titled Brainstorm. You see, that movie starred Christopher Walken and in her final film role, Natalie Wood. Her death, much like Lana's, occurred under very mysterious circumstances. It's a subject for another video on another day. But let me just say, we don't know the whole story there, and perhaps we never will.
Who wants to answer the bat phone?
Batman.
Yes, Commissioner. Batman is the Commissioner. Gotham is in trouble. The Joker is on the loose. Can you help?
I'll be right there.
You have to say. To the bat pole.
And now, these messages.
Alright folks, let's do this. This time we're going back to 1985. Here are a handful of commercials that I think they're truly memorable. And as always, thank you so much for all of your support. It truly means the world to me.
Time to make the donuts. Dunkin' Donuts are always fresh. I made the donuts. We make them at least twice every day. Time to make the donuts. Not a few kinds, like supermarket.
The donuts. Time to make the donuts.
But up to 52 varieties.
The donuts. Time to make the donuts. I made the donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts, up to 52 varieties, fresh day and night. No supermarket can say that.
Dear Grandma, thanks for the Canon Pocket Printer calculator you sent me. Everyone loved it. Mom said whenever Dad took it, he looked like a ticker tape parade. Mom used it too, to cut my allowance. And Kelly says the Canon Pocket Printers helped her make points in economics class. I'm sorry to say, Fillmore also took a liking to it. So could you send me another pocket printer and a bone for Fillmore?
The Canon Pocket Printer. Every family should have one, maybe more.
Lost 8 pounds.
Lose 8 more.
8.
Everybody's got a diet right. It doesn't matter who you are. It's gonna be a tough fight. So give yourself the greatest taste. Come on and put the fun back on your face.
Diet salt-free. I'm avoiding salt and sodium.
Lee, I'm impressed.
She's impressed.
Everybody's got it.
Created in the image of the Earth's most precious metals, the Golden Hawk 3. This specially designed Buick combines the Skyhawk's sleek features and performance with the shimmering presence of gold. The Golden Hawk 3 is available now, only in very limited quantities. Catch one if you can. When your Buick dealer offers you something special, believe it.
When you and your family come to Florida, come to Busch Gardens, Tampa, and spend a day in Africa.
All the best of Africa on the west coast of Florida. All the best of Africa on the west coast of Florida.
Busch Gardens, Tampa.
Hey there, baby. Listen to this. Now you never look better with a Kodak this. The Kodak this makes you look so fine, makes you look so sharp, really lets you shine. You ought to be in pictures. That's why I'm gonna get you with the Kodak this. Hey, baby, wait till you see the clear, sharp color pictures you get with Kodacolor VR disc film. Kodak's best disc film ever. Oh yeah, you got so much style with that silly old smile. I'm gonna get you with the Kodak disc.
Tuesday, it's a saloon showdown with deadly desperados. I love it. The A-Team. Then on Riptide, Murray's in love. Oh, boy. But she may be out to break more than his heart. And on Remington Steele, Laura's kidnapped. Laura! And Steele gets that rundown feeling when he tries to save her.
Let's all be there Tuesday. Morris discovers 9 Lives Tender Meals.
Morris, wake up. Something new for Din Din.
I must be dreaming.
It's a new soft moist cat food.
Soft moist. Now she's dreaming.
It's 9 lives.
9 lives? Well, my catnap can wait.
New 9 Lives Tender Meals. Morris's favorite flavors like salmon, shrimp, and cheese now made tender and easy. At last, a soft moist good enough for Morris.
9 Lives Tender Meals? You're a dream come true.
Very soon, some of you will notice a change in Doritos. Doritos, now with more nacho cheese flavor than ever. Definitely.
Way back in the late 70s and early 80s, Lauren Tweez, along with the rest of the cast of Aaron Spelling's The Love Boat, was part of my must-see TV on Saturday nights. I loved everything about the show. The cast was great. For 9 seasons, they held together multiple storylines and frequently interacted with some really wonderful guest stars. Lauren, as the cruise director, Julie McCoy was there to keep things sane and those storylines moving along. She was a very critical part of the show, and in my mind, kind of the breakout star during those early seasons. So with all that said, I bet you can't guess who her favorite guest star on the show was. If I already didn't know, I might go with someone like Charo or Tom Hanks or even Donny Osmond. But if I went with those answers, I'd be wrong. Because you see, this man was Lauren's favorite guest star. Yep, Mr. Vincent Price, the star of oh so many horror films from the 50s and 60s. Lauren, during a fairly recent interview, said that Vincent during his time on the show was smart, funny, and kind. 3 words you don't always hear these days when it comes to a description of a star of Vincent's caliber. In that interview, Lauren reminisced about Vincent's appearance on the Love Boat in an episode titled Ship of Ghouls. She reflected on the time that they spent together in between takes talking about art, food, and other topics that, well, Lauren just found them absolutely fascinating. You can find the entire interview right here on YouTube. I'll post a link to it at the end of this video just in case you're interested in hearing more. In the same interview, Lauren was also asked who her least favorite guest star was, and you know what? I've got to give kudos to Lauren, because she would not answer that question. The interviewer pressed her to, without saying a name, just describe the guest star, and even then she declined. She said something like our world is so full of ugly stuff, she didn't want to add to that conversation. I was so impressed with that response, and Lauren, you are absolutely correct. In a world where every opinion is given a platform through the various social networks, there's no need to add fuel to that fire, unless there's something positive. Or if not that, at least something that's productive to be said. So as long as we're talking about Lauren, here's a quick update. She remains close to her former castmates from the show. That chemistry that existed way back in the late 70s and early 80s, well, it still runs strong even today. And a few years back, before the Pacific Princess was mothballed, she was invited back to that ship to celebrate her 60th birthday. I think it's great that she still feels connected to the cruise line and is able to accept invitations such as this one. To sum things up, Lauren takes things day by day and enjoys each one to its fullest. And that, my friends, is what we should all be doing. Born on September 3rd in 1959, actor Merritt Butrick made a lasting impression on audiences with his memorable roles. Many remember him as the quirky Johnny Slash on the cult classic TV show Square Pegs. On that show, he brought a unique energy to the small screen, but I remember him best on the big screen for his heartfelt performance as Captain Kirk's brilliant but doomed son, David Marcus, in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Sadly, Merritt's life was a short one. He died in 1989 at the all-too-young age of 29 due to complications from AIDS. Happy heavenly birthday, Merritt Butrick. The new issue of RetroFan is out. You can preview it at tomorrows.com. Back in the mid-'80s, regardless of your age, fans both young and old were delighted by The Golden Girls, a program that centered around 4 older women who share a friendship and a home in Miami, Florida. And I just loved the cast. I have to state for the record that I just think these 4 ladies were the best. Their chemistry, the way they worked together, well, it was really a thing of beauty. Over the course of the show's run, all of the actresses won Emmy Awards for their work. Truly an amazing accomplishment for this type of ensemble program. The Golden Girls ran for 7 seasons on NBC before concluding, due in large part to B. Arthur's disinterest in continuing to be part of the show. There's a favorite B. Arthur quote of mine, referring to both Maude and Dorothy on The Golden Girls. B. once said, "I'm not playing a role. I'm just being myself, whatever the hell that is." If you ask me, those are wise words from a great actress.
A lot of folks ask, who played me best? It's simple. Nobody did it better than West.
And now, these messages.
This week in the National Enquirer, it's America at its most fatherly as Bill Cosby talks exclusively to us about kids and drugs. It's America at its most miraculous as a heart transplant mom gives birth to a miracle baby. It's America at its loneliest as Leonard Nimoy leaves his wife of 32 years on her birthday. It's America at its saniest as the feds spend a fortune to study the love talk of frogs.
Ribbit, baby. The National Enquirer, yes, America at its best.
Run out and buy the Enquirer now.
Tuesday, Matlock defends a chef with a deadly dish.
Sodium cyanide.
Sounds awful. Was it the butcher, the baker, or the crusty food taster?
Anybody.
Matlock. Then the hill is rocked when Joyce is taken hostage.
I go, she goes.
Converlo save her.
Say bye-bye to wifey, Captain.
Hill Street Blues.
Come on home, Tuesday.
Welcome to Burger King.
Yeah, Whopper extra onions, please.
No problem.
Whopper, no pickles.
No problem.
Hey, guys.
Cheeseburger, extra ketchup.
No problem.
Hold the tomato.
No problem.
At Burger King, we flame broil for a taste more like a backyard barbecue and fix your burger any way you like. But there is one way we can't fix your burger.
Fried burger, please.
Now we've got a problem.
I'm so embarrassed.
This is a Burger King town.
Neighbor's kid.
We know how burgers should be.
You Earth people keep stars in a bowl? Campbell's chicken and star soup. Why do you put stars where you speak? That's the way we eat. Mouth. This is the way we eat. Campbell's taste good. Fun.
Kids may be different, but Campbell's knows what they love. That's why we have 6 delicious soups for kids.
If you eat where you speak, do you drink where you listen? Campbell's soup is good food.
Roswell Gilbert loved his wife for 51 years, but he never loved her more
Let me die.
than the day he killed her.
Roswell Gilbert, he is being charged with murder in the 1st degree.
Based on an incredible true story.
I had to do it.
Robert Young stars Mercy or Murder, Sunday.
My lips are sealed with chapstick. Uh-oh. Chapstick, please. Will that be cash? Just put it on my bill. My lips are sealed with chapstick.
My dad used to be a foreman at this shop. I like working here a lot. Almost as much as I like quitting time.
You put your time in. Now you're ready for some fun. And to help you through it all, there's Milky Way. Slow down. Take a moment and enjoy all the goodness of a quarter cup of milk. Natural cane and corn sugars, and thick chocolate in every bar.
I've looked forward to this all day.
A Milky Way a day helps you work, rest, and play.
Stingray is back.
Take an ad out introducing Stingray.
The hit series will have America head over heels.
Whoever you are, you're good.
He's a mysterious stranger, but the only man left you can count on.
Some mysteries are better left unsolved.
So do yourself a favor.
I need a volunteer.
Catch the return of Stingray Friday.
At Duracell, the race to be the best, to be the king of the road, goes on and on. Which is why today's copper top battery lasts up to 30% longer than the ones we made just 2 years ago. Today's copper top from Duracell. No battery lasts longer. And race to your store now, and we'll send you a rebate of up to $5 for buying Duracell batteries.
Fuji Videotape presents Quality Control.
The people at Fuji put their videotape through a lot. They forward and reverse it hundreds of times. Meep, 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 meep. They subject it to extremes of hot and cold.
Finally, the stress test.
Captain, I'm giving it full power and she's still holding together.
It's a demanding job. But Fuji wants your tape to last, no matter what you put it through.
Fuji Videotape. Put the good stuff on the good stuff.
Classic TV Funhouse with Dave Sunstrom.
Today we are going to take a look at actor Fred Berry, who you might remember as the lovable character Freddy Rerun Stubbs on the hit television show What's Happening. Fred was born on March 19, 1951 in St. Louis, Missouri. He began his entertainment career as a street performer and eventually worked his way up to becoming a professional dancer. In 1976, he landed the role of Rerun on What's Happening
and quickly became a fan favorite for his comedic timing and dance moves. You know, there was just something about Fred's portrayal of Rerun that was so much fun. Rerun wasn't always the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he was kind and caring, and most importantly for any television sitcom during the 70s, he was funny. After What's Happening ended in 1979, Fred continued to act in various television shows and films, but for whatever reason, the offers really weren't all that plentiful for him. I do remember a guest appearance during the early 80s on Alice, but beyond that, I really can't say I remember seeing him in much until the mid-80s, when Fred returned to reprise his role as Rerun in the series What's Happening Now. Unfortunately, he was fired from that show even before the first season ended due to his insistence that he receive more money than the rest of the cast. Not the smartest move, but there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Around the same time as his firing, Fred's personal life was also plagued with a ton of issues, including struggles with drugs and alcohol, which ultimately led to an arrest for cocaine possession. Fred entered rehab shortly thereafter, and he later on opened up about his addiction and became an advocate for sobriety. In 1996, Fred said this to People magazine, "I was a millionaire by the time I was 29, but then the stress of success got to me, the fat jokes got to me, and I got heavily into drugs and alcohol." During the 90s, Fred continued to make guest appearances on television shows like Martin, In Living Color, and Scrubs. He also worked as a motivational speaker and a Baptist minister, inspiring others to overcome their own struggles with addiction and adversity. Fred even managed to shed 100 pounds, and for at least a little while, he really seemed to have turned a corner. And Fred was finding steady work, not on TV or in movies, but by making appearances as a pitchman for various companies, where he would dress in Rerun's signature red beret and baggy pants, and sell whatever products these companies would ask him to. In a 2002 interview with CNN's Serena Kapp, Fred seemed to really take pride in the fact that his career had moved to a corporate level. Having a steady income stream was very important to Fred because he had a family to take care of. He'd been married 6 times to 4 different women, and from those relationships he'd become a father not once, not twice, but 3 times. That said, Fred didn't mind working, and he didn't mind that people seemed to only remember him as Rerun. During that same CNN interview, Fred said, "I'm still called Rerun, and I love it." He also added that people always wanted to see him dance no matter where he was, and he was always happy to oblige. Tragically, Fred passed away just a year after that interview in October of 2003 at the all-too-young age of 52 due to complications from a stroke. I remember reading an obituary at the time that alluded to the onset difficulties that Fred seemed to have that called him the Elizabeth Taylor of 70s sitcoms. And while that may be at least partially true, here's the deal. Fred loved playing Rerun. Even after he was fired from What's Happening Now, he continued to play a version of that character whenever he was given the chance. Despite all of his personal struggles, I will always remember Fred Berry as a talented entertainer, a heck of a dancer, who brought laughter and joy to millions of viewers, myself included. Rest in peace, Rerun. One more thing. I remember reading a few years back about Fred's son, Fred Berry Jr., and his efforts to establish a career for himself as a performer. Fast forward to present day, and it looks like Fred Jr. has found his niche behind the lens as both a director as well as a photographer. He also maintains a website that serves as a tribute to his father. If you'd like to learn more about Fred, or Fred Jr., I'd recommend checking it out. I'll post a link to it in the description section of this video. Okay, I know I said one more thing already, but for those of you who say that they don't make anything good on TV anymore, you really should check out an episode of The Goldbergs from Season 4 titled Deadheads. If this picture seems slightly familiar to you, well, it's because one of the main plot points of the episode was taken directly from a classic episode of What's Happening, where Rerun attempts to bootleg a Doobie Brothers concert with disastrous and hilarious results.
You know, I'm sick and tired of the news. How about we all flip the channel and watch some wrestling?
If you stay in school and study hard, just like me,
you can accomplish anything.
Pop culture historian Dave Sundstrom here. I hope you're enjoying this Blast from the Past live stream. You know, I have another YouTube channel called Retro Jukebox, and there are a bunch of songs about the 80s and even some of the TV shows that aired during the 80s over there. Check it out when you get a chance. Here's one of those songs.
Don't be a joker. Click on that little thumbs up icon and give this video a like.
You are special.
Click on that thumbnail cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.